Hello, this is a general demo about iSpire tools that helps you in doing the migration from DB2 Linux, Unix, Windows version to Microsoft SQL Server database. So iSpire Systems provides three graphical tools for doing the migration from database or from scripts. First tool that I would like to mention is the Cycleways wizard that you can see on your screens. This tool works with the SOAR database using ODBC connection. So in order to connect to a DB2 database, you need to install a DB2 client to support a connection to your database server. As for SQL Server as a target database, our tool uses native tools like SQL CMD, BCP, or iSQL tool that is used for earlier versions of SQL Server database for doing the load of data and definitions into SQL Server database. So let's start. First time when you start Cycleways wizard, you trap into a welcome to the Cycleways wizard page. And here I would like to mention an option for select a project directory or create a new project. This option lets you specify the directory, the folder on your current computer where you can store all the definitions you make for this particular project. Particularly, you can store here the objects that you specified for the conversion in this particular run, the data type mappings, identifier mappings, options for the conversion itself, with data or without data, with definition or without definition. So all this information, everything that you specify in Cycleways wizard will be stored in this project directory and can be reused or on every run of Cycleways wizard, or just Cycleways tool that is used as a core tool for doing all the conversion processes in our graphical tools. So you can see I've got one project specified already, so I'm using it for this particular demo, and I can click next. On the Choose a SOAR database page, you need to specify the ODBC DSN. This can be a system DSN or using the user DSN or even the file DSN with the ODBC connection tuned for your particular database, DB2 database. Also, you need to specify username and a password, and my recommendation would be to use the administrator, the user that has administrative rights, because our tool uses additional statements for making a selects from system tables and system views from SOAR database. So the user must have appropriate privileges to make a correct export of all the objects from the SOAR database. Let's click next. On the Choose a Target database page, you need to specify this target database, Microsoft SQL Server, the version from the list of the versions supported in our tool. I'm using the latest here. The server, the database, the username and a password. If you are using a Windows authentication method, just specify use Windows authentication here. On the advanced page, you can specify the bin directory where actually the native tools for the data and definitions loading into SQL Server database reside. Let's click next. All the objects extracted from the SOAR database are depicted in a tree view in the left pane. You can see it here. Each object is stored in its own object type, like tables, for example, and in its own owner in DB2. The same for views, stored procedures, functions, triggers, user-defined types, sequences, and say anonymous. This is actually the list of objects that are supported for DB2 to SQL Server conversion. As I'm using a project directory, so you can see all the objects were selected for me here. So I'm going to show you how the tables view, stored procedures, triggers, user-defined types, and synonyms can be converted from DB2 to SQL Server database. Also, for this, for selection, you can use a filter option where you can specify, for example, a schema name, for which you would like to convert all the objects. So you can specify it, and in this case you will see the objects only for this schema in the whole database. To remove it, just click it and click remove. Let's click next. Our tool has extracted all the additional information from the database. Now we are on the specified DDL and data options page. There are lots of options actually for doing the migration process, for tuning it in our tool. I would like to mention just a few of them, like omit schema names in SQL scripts. This means whether you would like to convert the schema names from DB2 to SQL Server database or no. But in this, you should understand that our tool doesn't create schemas in SQL Server database. So you have to create them yourself. Also, as for object names, you can see that our tool automatically resolves reserved words conflicts when doing the migrations from one database to another. And using replace reserved words option, you can control the way it is actually converted. Also, when talking about a conversion of a database, so I should say a little bit about the data type mapping. Our tool has two types of data type mapping, global and local. Global you can see here. Actually, you can change it. This is a default conversion that is provided by our tool. Or if we are talking about local data type mapping, then you just can click to any table, go to DDL options, and change target data type locally for some particular table. And a local data type mapping has higher priority than global. Also, when doing about large migrations, just in order to not lose the time when doing the conversion, you can omit exporting data for the first time, for example, and can convert the definitions only in this case. Or when you made a definition conversion, you can go here or just check in export data, and in SQL scripts uncheck generate DDL. So in this case, only data is converted from DB2 to SQL Server database. Okay, there are lots of other options like changing object names, doing all sorts of conversions, supporting any kind of particular conversion from DB2 to SQL Server. Actually, if you have any specific requirements for maintaining your particular conversion, just turn to us with your request and we can help you in providing information regarding whether we have such option or we need some time to implement it. On the specify export file options page, you can see that there is an export directory option. When doing the conversion, our tool stores all the intermediate files in a specific directory. So this is an export directory where these files are stored, and the files contain SQL statements generated for a target database in SQL Server syntax, batch commands with native tools inside, native tool commands inside for SQL CMD, and BCP tools for SQL Server database, and format files for data loading. And after the import process, there are generated error files for data loading into SQL Server database. Also there are generated Cycleways log. This is an export log for Cycleways tool, and Cycleways IMP log file. This is for import process and for errors on the import into SQL Server database. So on this on the same page you can see run and trace mode option, which makes it possible and actually generates a trace file used for some particular problems investigation in your conversion. And additionally, it generates a commanded source of the source object in each file where the objects reside. So for each object, there generated its own SQL file with a commanded source inside and its equivalent. Okay, let's click next. On the specify import options page, there are two main options for doing the import process. One is when you use a client installed on your current computer for SQL Server database as a target, and the other one is for making import on some other computer. So you can generate the files for doing the import, and then you can copy them to any other location in the network and run the import process there. So I've got a client here installed, so I'm using the first option. On the review the selections page, there's just some information regarding the migration process you are going to perform. Let's click next and see the process. So you can see that migration has started. It's quite fast and simple actually. So each table is extracted with all the data inside. The views, the synonyms and storage procedures. All the objects are extracted and converted into SQL Server syntax. Now the triggers are converted here, you can see. And here the import process has started, and actually, so the import process usually much faster than the export, because native tools works much faster than ODBC connection in most cases. So you can see some information here about the migration process. Now let's go to the export directory. Okay, so let's review some information regarding the commands that were generated. You can see, so as we are using convert the data only option, so only date the option for data conversion only is provided here. You can see BCP tool is used only. If you go back and turn on generate DDL, so we will be able to generate the DDL options as well. DDL commands for SQL CMD tool by our tool as well, by Cycleways. And you can see generated DDL has appeared here. So let's see batch command, and now you can see that SQL CMD and BCP are provided here for the export process. Okay, as for other objects like views, types, stored procedures, and etc. They're generated a set of SQL files and the batch files, batch commands for a SQL CMD tool only, because no data is required for conversion here. And so let's review some SQL files. You can see some examples of alias conversion to synonyms for tables, for views, DDL statements for tables conversion with primary keys, foreign keys constraints. Actually, all kinds of DDL conversions are supported here in our tool, like commands, default values, and etc. Identity conversion from DB2 to SQL Server database. And here are the Cycleways log files. This is the export information. You can see information about the exported objects like 2 identities, 5 defaults, and etc. And some information, the summary information regarding the export process itself for each object type, and the summary information for the total summary information for objects conversion. And for import process, you can see the information about the import into target database. There is also a HTML report for export process, where you can see information in a more readable format in table form. The size of data for tables, number of rows of data, export status, and export time in seconds. Okay, so this is all about Cycleways Wizard, the tool that uses ODBC connection to the source database and that can convert definitions and data from DB2 to SQL Server database. Now let's turn to the tools that works with scripts. And first I would like to mention Cycleways Studio. You can see it on your screen. This tool works with one script at a time. So you can copy some script in DB2 syntax to the left pane, specify the source as IBM DB2 from the list of the sources supported, specify SQL Server from the list of the target databases supported, and can just click Run. So at the bottom of this page you can see the log information. You can see the Cycleways command that is used for doing this scripts conversion, and you can see the result on the right pane. Please make a note that DB2 admin, the schema from the source database, has been added to the name of a table in the target, because there are some differences in there is a difference in the way the DB2 controls the schema name. The default schema name in DB2 for tables that is used in some view is taken using the schema name from a view. In SQL Server the default is DBO, so you have to convert it to a explicit schema specification in target database. So this is a Studio tool. It's quite simple, Cycleways Studio, and it's quite intuitive in use. You can see it's really simple in use. Just do the conversion and see whether the conversion failed or no. Now let me show you one more tool. This is Cycleways Commander. The difference, so it works with scripts as well as Cycleways Studio, but the difference is that Cycleways Commander can work with multiple scripts. So you just can specify a set of scripts for doing the conversion, or you can specify the folder for doing the conversion. So, and when doing the conversion, you just need, like in Studio, you need to specify the source, the target, and specify the scripts for conversion, and click Run. Confirm the conversion process, and at the bottom of the page you can see the log with the information regarding the conversion process. Okay, again you can see the Cycleways tool is used, command line tool, for 2 scripts, and there were no failures during the conversion of 2 scripts. And for reviewing the conversion, you can open the source in the left pane and click the target on the right pane and compare the results side by side from left to right pane. And the same way for second script. Sorry. Okay. So you can see it's quite simple in use as well. Our aim was to make the tools as simple as possible. So these are all tools that I would like to show you in this demo. So as you can see, we have 3 tools. Cycleways works with a sorted base using ODBC connection, can extract data and definitions from it and convert it into SQL Server database directly, or just generate scripts that you can copy somewhere and make an import there. Or we can have 2 tools, Cycleways Studio and Cycleways Commander, that can convert scripts or just single statements from source to target database, depending on the license that you have. So if you have any questions, please mail us to support@aspire.com. We will be glad to assist you in your projects or in using our tools. Have a nice day. Bye.